going into it felt like it felt like any other day. Well, not quite. What do I mean?
Cool thing is, the band usually appears, or they go to Scotland a week before the Worlds, so you can get used to the time change and your instruments get acclimated to the weather there. And it's nice to be able to have those rehearsals, practice twice a day, usually.
Yeah.
Sometimes more, sometimes less, just depending on how the day is going. But it's just really nice to have that bonding experience with your bandmates.
By that time, everyone's your cousin. Really. Something like that. Yeah, it felt, when we're in it, there's a part in the medley where, at least for me, when we get past that point and we hit that, I'm like, okay, I'm feeling good now. And once we hit that point, I was like, okay, everything before now has been just as we've practiced. The rest should be, it should be really good from here. I think I felt really good about the performance. It's one of those moments when you did what you set out to do. You accomplished the mission, and it's just a waiting game. You can't control how the other bands do, but you did what you meant to do. So that's all you can hope for, I suppose.
As we were in the warm-up circle leading up to the competition part, it was raining, just lightly drizzling, and it didn't seem to bother any of us. We were so ready to go out and play, and that was a really good feeling. You could just stand there, just watching the bagpipers warming up, and you're just like, yeah, I got this. we know our music, like, forwards and backwards. Like, we're just so ready. And when we were in the circle competing, there's this one part in the medley where once you reach that point, it's just like really fun, and you just don't really have to think about it too much. And you just look around, and you can just see it on people's faces that they knew that was a really good run for us. It's probably the best run that we had all season.
Yeah.
Taylor, he's the youngest tenor drummer in our corps, and I just look over there and he's just like beaming, like so happy to be there. And it's just, I think everyone in that circle felt that way at that moment. And as we marched off, like, you could see even the pipe major's expression. He had this like big smile on his face, and that's when you know that you did awesome.
Every pipe major always seems to have. They always have the thing after the performance when you know how you did based on how they reacted. I had this old pipe major who would brought you Dangerfield with his tie after a performance, and I think with Ian it's just a smile. It's like, when Ian smiles, that's good. So I always thought, I don't think, even if I did one, I don't think I'd go crazy, and then it happened, and
the way that he announced it too, he was really like slow about it. He was like, first place, City of Dunedin, and it's like it could have been either one or the other, because like we both played really well.
Yeah.
But when they said City of Dunedin pipe band, it was just like sheer chaos. Like it was like a mosh pit when they announced it. It was like I didn't even know where I was at the time. It was so exciting. Hats flying in the air. I'm surprised no one broke something on their instrument.
Yeah. My vest that I got for the band, I'm missing the top two buttons now. They ripped off when we had won, so celebrated pretty hard. As with your family is pretty cool. I guess that's. Yeah, I don't really.
That's cool because like we all started from the very we've seen each other start from the very beginning and have watched each other like grow.
Yeah.
And being in a winning grade 2 pipe band is pretty exciting and quite the accomplishment for us.
Yeah, I mean if you think about it, we all took breaks from piping at some point. I took about 2 years off at some point. You took 6 years off between.
More like 9 years.
More like 9, yeah. Our brother, who he didn't play with us at Dunedin, but I mean he took 2 or 3 years off from piping as well, and so just to go learn through it, and then at some point we all stopped, and somehow we all psyched ourselves back. It's weird. You sort of psyched me back into playing the bagpipes.
Yeah, it was at my wedding. I asked Chris and Alasdair to play at my wedding, and then Alasdair's like, oh, I need to get myself ready again.
I think I sort of motivated Angus to get back into it.
And then I went.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely do.
Well, I mean, for me, it almost felt like it was a culmination of piping. I mean, I would say 16 years, but it's really been the time since I stopped and started again. So that's been 6 or 5 years. So I got back into it with my band in Arizona, and then I got to play with the Scots for a couple of years, and then I moved over here and then joined Dunedin. So it's almost been this, crawling back out of, like, not playing, brushing off all the cobwebs, and, so I guess it's really a culmination for me of 7 years of work. When I was younger, I didn't really take it too seriously, so I probably, it's really like you're a youth learner, yet you're also an adult learner, so it's somehow a weird combination of the two where you gotta work. I mean, really, really hard just to reach that point, and it's been really fun getting to that point where you can actually do it and keep up with those guys in that band, because there's a lot of good players, in Dunedin, that you have to meet that standard, and it felt good finally being able to do that.
Part of the reason why Dunedin is such a success is because all the players in the band are working hard.
Yeah.
And if you don't show up knowing your stuff, that's entirely your fault. And you might as, I don't know.
It's a very humble group,
Yeah.
I mean, nobody, it's, well, how else
people
do I
don't
put that?
have big egos in that group.
No.
And that's really nice because you're just there to play music. You're not trying to prove yourself.
Yeah.
If you are struggling, there are awesome players around you that are willing to help.
Yeah.
And you can help each other out, and that's really cool.
Every time I chat with Ian Donaldson, it almost feels like a month of lessons just crammed into 10 minutes. I learned more this year because he just, I guess humility breeds honesty, and playing in that group just sort of shows you
But it does require a lot of practice at home, a lot of dedication, a lot of sacrifices, especially as an away player. Even the in-town players too, they have the same situation, but it takes a lot of time away from your families.
That's right.
And I think families of the players in our band, we have to be very grateful for them, for understanding, because in-town players, they have practice twice a week. Every week.
That's a.
And then for away players, we have to be there at least every once a month. So it's just a huge time commitment. But I would totally do it again.
Yeah, and it's interesting. The whole family aspect, how much they support it. I mean, all the players work really hard, but the families are. I mean, leading up to the contest, as a traveling band, you have to deal with the elements there. When you see the Scottish bands, you've got this whole troop of people holding umbrellas over everyone's drone so the water doesn't get in. As an away band, you wouldn't expect to have that, but there are so many families that maybe
husbands, wives, boyfriend, girlfriends, mothers, fathers, band groupies. They're just a huge fan.
Yeah,
base following of Dunedin.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
They may not be in the band, in the circle, but they're
just as important.
Yeah, because you can't win you can't even qualify for a contest if your drones aren't working, and
every piper had an umbrella over the drones.
Yeah, which is saying something for her.
I remember before we even went out to play, I was collecting all the umbrellas and I handed it to one of the band dads. I'm like, here, take these. He's like, I'll take those, and he was passing them out, but we had just enough for everyone.
Yeah.
Not only is it cool that we're siblings and we're playing, but you're also part of this larger, like family.
Yeah.
Unrelated people, but
Yeah.
it still feels like family when you go down there.
That's right.
It's really cool.
You know, thank you to Ian Donaldson for, you know, maybe working with me personally just so I can meet the standard that's in the band, everyone that's in the band, like my wing, I guess, what would you call that wingman? Jamie Everett and Brendan Gomez playing next to me, and that, I mean, they played, I mean, they, you know, you got to play as, you know, around the same quality as they do, so it's, you know, and they helped, they coached me to help coach me to play in there, and they were really nice, and yeah, and the
Thank our mom for taking us to all those band
oh
practices
yeah.
and band camps, all that time driving across the 205 bridge and all that traffic on Monday nights.
That's right. Oh, well, if we're going at this, thank you, Mark Tomasetti. You know, sorry, he had like maybe a Golden Globe or something. That'll be too goofy. Like Chris Hossack,
Robbie and Jeff Brewer,
Chuck Bergen,
Joe
Hewitt.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And the Loch Norman Pipe Band for putting up with us.
Yeah, you know, it's being very supportive and giving us cake, you know, when they came back. That was good. I liked that cake. It was a good cake.
Yeah, thanks to all the people at my work at Classic Grooming for letting me take all this time off and being really understanding and letting me pursue my crazy drumming dreams. I couldn't do without them.
Yeah.